Packers rumors, exploring edge rusher trades, wide receiver not a priority before trade deadline. As the NFL trade deadline approaches, the Green Bay Packers are reportedly exploring potential moves, but don't expect them to shake things up too drastically. Historically, the Packers have been conservative in making in-season trades, preferring to maintain their core roster rather than engage in blockbuster deals. Green Bay's front office, led by GM Brian Gutekunst, is unlikely to stray far from this formula as they look to strengthen their squad. While Packers fans might be hoping for a bold move, the likelihood of significant transactions remains low. However, adding a key piece, like an edge rusher, could give the Packers a competitive boost and potentially push them from playoff contenders to serious Super Bowl threats. Here's a look at the latest rumors swirling around the team. Packers rumor no. 1. A move for an edge rusher is on the table. If the Packers do make a trade before the deadline, it will likely be for a pass rusher who can make an immediate impact and fit into their long-term plans. Finding a game-changing edge rusher available at the right price, however, is no easy task. The Packers would need to locate a team willing to part with a high-caliber player without demanding an exorbitant trade package in return. These challenges make a headline-grabbing trade less probable. A more realistic target might be a player like Chase Young, who's performing well on a one-year deal with the New Orleans Saints. At 25, Young is still in his prime, and Green Bay could potentially acquire him with a mid-round draft pick if they're prepared to offer him a long-term contract in the offseason. Another option for the Packers could be to explore veterans in need of a fresh start. For instance, Hassan Reddick could be on their radar if he demonstrates some spark for the New York Jets this week. Azeez Ojulari, who has seen his role diminish with the New York Giants, is another name that could gain traction. However, the most likely scenario is that the Packers will rely on their star pass rusher, Rashawn Gary, to regain his form as the season progresses. While edge rusher remains on the Packers' wish list, they won't overpay for a marginal upgrade. Packers rumor no. 2. No urgent need for wide receiver help. Despite persistent speculation, don't expect the Packers to make a splashy move for a wide receiver before the deadline. Much of the speculation surrounding the Packers' receiving core has quieted, especially after Romeo Doubs bounced back from his early season struggles, which included a one-game suspension. Doubs delivered a standout performance in Green Bay's Week 7 victory against the Houston Texans, hauling in 8 catches on 10 targets for 94 yards. While Doubs may not have the elite physical traits to be a prototypical number 1 receiver on a Super Bowl caliber team, he has solidified his role as a reliable number 2 option. As a result, Green Bay is unlikely to chase any veteran wideouts on the trade market, like Mike Williams, who doesn't necessarily offer a significant upgrade. The Packers might keep an eye on the market and make a low-risk move if a veteran unexpectedly becomes available. However, fans hoping for the arrival of a star wide receiver will likely have to wait until next offseason when the team can more thoroughly evaluate their options. Packers rumor. Number 3, 2 veterans could be traded. One approach the Packers could take ahead of the deadline is to offload a couple of veteran players in exchange for future draft capital. NFL insider Ian Rappaport has suggested that both offensive tackle Andre Dillard and edge rusher Preston Smith are potential trade candidates if the right offer comes along. Preston Smith, though not performing at an elite level this season, could still draw interest given his experience and pedigree. Green Bay's coaching staff is likely well aware of any decline in his performance, and they might look to trade him before other teams notice any drop-off in his athleticism. As for Dillard, he presents an intriguing trade option for teams in need of pass protection. While he may only be a below-average starter at left tackle, in a league where offensive line talent is at a premium, that could still be valuable. Dillard offers Green Bay some depth at one of the most important positions on the field, which means he should only be traded if the Packers can secure a mid-round draft pick in return. Even though Green Bay isn't expected to make major roster changes, a few calculated moves could help bolster their chances as the season intensifies. Packers fans should watch closely over the coming days to see if the front office makes any adjustments before the deadline, especially in terms of adding a pass rusher or moving some veteran pieces. Matt LaFleur seeks to leverage Robert Saleh's elite defensive mind to bolster Packers offense Green Bay. Robert Saleh didn't have much time to catch his breath after being dismissed from his role as head coach of the New York Jets. Before he could even fully process his departure, his close friend, Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, extended a helping hand, offering Saleh a unique opportunity to remain in the game. "We talked immediately," LaFleur said, describing the swift conversation with his longtime friend after Saleh's firing. LaFleur initially suggested that Saleh take some well-deserved time off. With a severance package in hand, Saleh could have spent the rest of 2024 relaxing, perhaps enjoying a few months on the beach like many coaches in similar situations often do. "I didn't want to put any pressure on him," LaFleur explained. Yet he couldn't resist adding a subtle pitch. If Saleh felt the urge to stay involved with football, there would be an open door in Green Bay. The idea of stepping away from the NFL clearly didn't appeal to Saleh, who eagerly accepted the chance to remain active in the sport. By Wednesday, Saleh was already on the sidelines at the Packers practice, helping the team prepare for their upcoming game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. While Saleh's role with the Packers remains fluid, as LaFleur put it, he will primarily serve as an offensive consultant. LaFleur believes that Saleh's defensive expertise can offer fresh insights into the Packers' offensive strategies. "It's a great opportunity for him to continue learning," LaFleur said, "but also for him to help us. He can provide a perspective on how opposing teams might approach us, how they might defend us. He can help us find holes and vulnerabilities in the defense we're playing against." Although Saleh has spent his entire career coaching defense, LaFleur made it clear that his contribution would be focused solely on the Packers' offense. With Jeff Hafley in his first year as Green Bay's defensive coordinator and the defense showing significant improvements, LaFleur is eager to give his defensive staff space to thrive without interference. The Packers' defense has been impressive, ranking 10th in the NFL by allowing just 20.4 points per game. They've allowed no more than 22 points in any of their 5 wins this season and lead the league in takeaways with 17, 3 more than the Minnesota Vikings. Interestingly, Hafley and Saleh have crossed paths before. Back in 2017 and 2018, Hafley was the defensive backs coach for the San Francisco 49ers, while Saleh was the team's defensive coordinator. Their previous collaboration was marked by mutual respect, and Hafley's presence on Saleh's first staff shows the esteem in which Saleh held him. Still, LaFleur is clear. There will be no scenario where Saleh steps on Hafley's toes by working with the defense. "I totally trust my defensive staff," LaFleur said, emphasizing the importance of allowing Hafley to run the defense his way. However, Saleh's role will be vital on the other side of the ball. "He's got an elite defensive mind," LaFleur added, "which is why I want him working on offense. He'll help us find ways to attack opposing defenses." LaFleur and Saleh's relationship dates back to 2004, when they first worked together as assistants at Central Michigan. That year they forged a close personal bond, even living together. LaFleur was later honored to serve as the best man at Saleh's wedding. Their professional paths diverged in 2009, but Saleh played a pivotal role in helping LaFleur land his first NFL job with the Houston Texans. Although they haven't worked together since, their friendship has remained strong for 2 decades. As Saleh spends the week in Green Bay, he's staying at LaFleur's home. However, LaFleur was non-committal about whether Saleh would return after this week. "It's pretty fluid," LaFleur admitted, hinting that Saleh might want to prioritize time with his family moving forward. Saleh, 45, was dismissed by the Jets just 2 weeks ago, wrapping up a 4-season tenure that included Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for the past 2 years. However, Rodgers' Achilles injury limited him to just 4 snaps in 2023. Despite the Jets' struggles and a 20-36 overall record during Saleh's tenure, his defense is consistently ranked among the NFL's best, with top 5 units in his last 2 seasons. Before his time in New York, Saleh had earned widespread acclaim as one of the league's top defensive coordinators with the San Francisco 49ers. Packers quarterback Jordan Love sees Saleh's presence as a valuable asset. "Having a guy like Saleh around is definitely helpful," Love said. "A defensive mind like his can give us insight into what defenses are seeing and thinking. It's going to help us identify things in our schemes that we might not notice ourselves." LaFleur views the collaboration as mutually beneficial. While Saleh is lending his expertise to the Packers' offense, he is also broadening his understanding of offensive play calling, a skill that could only enhance his already strong coaching future. At 45, Saleh still has a long road ahead in the coaching world, and this opportunity with the Packers allows him to stay sharp. Saleh didn't need to jump back into the NFL this soon, but his decision to do so, LaFleur says, speaks volumes about his passion for the game. It just shows how much he loves football, LaFleur said. I don't think the decision to let him go was the right one, but that's not for me to decide.